So welcome, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kate Mueller. I am the Chief Product Owl and Resident Cheesemonger here at KnowledgeOwl. And I do a little bit of everything. So I do QA, I do documentation. I'm also sort of the head of product. And I make sure we have many Linuses available on our public website. And today, I'm very excited that I get to talk to you about sort of a best practice topic we get asked a lot, which is if I'm using KnowledgeOwl to share files with folks, what are the best ways for me to do that? And what we're going to walk through today are really 3 different ways to do that and a little bit of the pros and cons of each approach. This is sort of the tip of the iceberg in the land of file sharing. So if there are other specific details you'd love to hear about on this, please let us know because we would be happy to have future sessions on this. I'm going to share my screen. All right. And so sharing files in KnowledgeOwl. If you're new to KnowledgeOwl, first thing you should know, anytime you add any type of file into an article or a category in KnowledgeOwl, whether that's in the body, whether it's an image, an icon, something like that, we automatically save that file into what's called your file library. So that file library is here in library files. We save all of those files so you can use them, you can reuse them across content. And what we're going to talk through today is, let's say I've added some files to my, yes, Nacho Libre Linus. I told you, I have all the Linuses. We're going to add some files into content and explore different ways that you can kind of enable that. This is primarily for what I would call non-visual files. So not images, not videos, but things like PDFs, Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, JSON, zip files containing a whole bunch of other things, etc. And the first way most of us think to do this, which is probably what you've already stumbled into working in it, is to upload the file directly into your article content itself. So in this case, I'm going to use an example I already have in here, which is a PDF I uploaded earlier. Let me do this in slow motion. We'll come in to editor, we'll click this upload file, which just looks like a little document. If you're adding a totally new file, you'll hit the drop file. You can actually drag and drop a file in there, or you can click it and it will open a browsing window on your computer and you can upload it. If you've already got this file uploaded somewhere, as I do, you can hit the add from library. This will let you search to find the file that you want. In this case, this is a very small test knowledge base, so there's nothing else in here. Once you hit insert, it will grab the name of that file and hyperlink it. And for most file types, this will automatically either open that file in a new tab, which is what happens with PDFs, because browsers know how to handle PDFs so they can open them, or it will prompt you to download that file. That's typically what happens with like a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. So once I have saved that, if I come out to this article and I click the link, because this is a PDF, it's going to open into a new tab where I will be able to see it. At this point, I could choose to download it. If this were Excel or a Word document, it would automatically download it at this point, and you would have to open that download in order to interact with it. So this is super simple how you share a file directly, putting it directly into your article content. My next option is to leverage a feature that is called URL redirect within an article. So we'll give this a quick name. I'm just going to create a new article here. And what this functionality allows you to do is to say, instead of opening whatever the article body is here and displaying that, when somebody clicks to open this article, they're actually going to open whatever URL I feed in here. So you can use this to link to resources that are outside of KnowledgeOwl, things on your company website, your company intranet, pages from your vendors or suppliers or contractors you work with. In this case, I'm going to use it to redirect to a file that I have stored in my library. In this case, that same old PDF. We're just going to go to this PDF for everything. And once I publish this, if I come out here to my knowledge base and I try to open this article, it will do the URL redirect. In this case, it's going to open it in a separate window because it's a PDF. and I'll be able to see it and interact with it here. I could then choose to download it. One quick interesting thing about using URL redirects is that is relating to how we index the content for search. So in most cases, if you put a PDF directly into an article, we will scrape the contents of that PDF and expose them as part of the text that is searchable in KnowledgeOwl. So you'll see my first example where I inserted that file directly in. It's going to tell me in the search result that this, whatever it found here, actually came from a PDF. We dumped that little PDF icon in. But I use the exact same PDF in my URL redirect, and I'm not seeing that show up here. And that is because we do not scrape URL redirect files for indexing. But never fear, there are some ways to get around that. So in my URL redirect article, even though I have it set as a URL redirect, I can still upload the PDF directly in here. That's not going to change the behavior outside in the knowledge base at all, except when it comes to search, because now this PDF will actually still be scraped for search, and it will help people find the content that we're looking for. So if I come out here and I rerun that same search, I now get the exact same result between the two because it has scraped that PDF out. This is also, if you're using Excel spreadsheets, Word documents here, those we do not automatically scrape for search indexing, but you can open those files, copy the text from them, dump it into this article body, and it will still get indexed behind the scenes to help people find the file that you're looking for. I think for a while we treated that as a bug, but now I think it's more of a feature because it allows you to add a whole bunch of extra stuff that gets indexed that nobody ever actually sees. So that's typically, I like to do both there just to help, if it's text-based content, that it's going to help drive people to it in the search. But it's optional. You don't have to do it. So that's method number 2. Method number 3, which is going to require me to look at our support knowledge base just a little bit, is to actually embed the file in an iframe. So this will open the file in a little iframe that will display the contents of the file directly on the page. So if you don't want somebody to have to click to open it or click to download it, you can use an iframe to automatically present that content directly within your content. There are different methods for doing this depending on what type of file you are using. For PDFs, we recommend using just a sort of standard iframe. If you are working with Microsoft Office files, Microsoft Office has several tools to allow you to embed those files in this type of format directly within your knowledge base. So you have a few different options. In this case, I'm just going to, since I'm working with PDF, I'm going to use this sort of vanilla iframe. And we have a sample of it here, which I'm just going to copy the code from. Thank you, documentation, so I don't have to remember how to do these things. And I'm going to come into my article. I'm going to toggle to code view here because the iframe stuff is all in straight HTML. There is no editor controller to help you add it. But I'm going to paste the code in exactly as it was before. And then all I have to do at this point is to replace the source URL listed here to the file that I want to display, my PDF. In this case, since I don't have it added here, I'm going to hop over to my file library for a second. I'm going to click on the file, and you'll see it opens some information about that file on the lower left. This allows me to copy the URL for that file, so I don't even have to do anything other than stay in code view and paste it in. And once I toggle back out of code view, here is my embedded PDF. Publish this for a second so we can see what this looks like out in the real world. And here it is directly embedded. Now, one of the things I really like to do here, I think it's just generally a good practice, is to also include the link to the PDF in addition to the iframe. So if for some reason the iframe doesn't load, somebody is not stuck not being able to access that content. It also means that, like, if somebody really does want to download it, they don't just want to look at it in the little iframe viewer, but they want to actually work with it. It gives them the option to do that. So I'm going to come out here and insert it just the same way I inserted the file before. slip it in here, and then we'll get it kind of both ways here. Let me come refresh this. And here we go. You can play around with the iframe settings a bit. What we have in the documentation out here is to say, I want it to take up 100% of the width and no more than 750 pixels in height. You can play around with that if you want to have a slightly smaller or slightly bigger iframe. I also think adding the link is really helpful if somebody's viewing this on a, let's say, a mobile phone, and they're trying to look at something in an iframe. Those can be very, very small, and having the link to actually open the file directly is hugely helpful in that case. And if this is a format that you use a lot, so like if you wanted to start using embedded files, maybe with the link as like a common format, because you have a lot of files that you want to share in this way or whatever, one of the things I strongly recommend is creating a template that basically already has the iframe code in it, already has a link to the file below it, and then people can create new articles using this template. So in this case, I've dumped in an example article into the iframe, linked to that same example article. I've added some notes about how to use this template, which is using our internal note feature. And I have set this to be a template. So what that means is that if I come out here and I go to create a new article, I can create from template. Anything that has that template checkbox checked in it, it becomes available in this dropdown. When I create from that, it's going to copy the internal note. It's going to copy the whole body of that template. And I can just come in, swap out one file for the other, swap out the URL in my iframe for the other, and be good to go. So in this case, I will swap out the sample for the PDF I've been working with. And that gets me the URL for the file, so I can also grab it and dump it directly into my iframe without having to go to anywhere else and do anything else. And then I can remove this note. And my entire embed process is done. I am going to stop recording here, and then we will field questions from everybody.